Okay, cool. So he wants us to save his people by killing them all. Good evening, cupcakes. It is a beautiful evening here in Polly's Forest, over by Weenie's cabin, and oh look! Is that our cute underling? So between last episode and this one, I went all the way back to Calpheon, and I ran there instead of purchasing a ticket, because I am very smart. But yes, I ran all the way back to Calpheon, put our cute underling in the stable, and then transported her over here. So now we have her. Next step of the quest, the main quest, is to meet the Tooth Fairies. And thank goodness we have our cute underling to take us there. My tier 5 horse that my main has is actually pretty close to Corsair stuff.
Taking care of Tooth Fairy Woods.
Come to my cabin. Tooth Fairies are the only spirits blessed by Kamasylvia. No, it didn't improve at all. They even laid it on the line that they can't wait any longer. It's not that we don't understand where the forest Ronaros is coming from, but the people of the Archer Guard Post are doing the best they can too. Please try to persuade them again, Chief Remitaronsum. Oh, you're here, Lady Segakaku. Are you the delegate from Calpheon? I did hear Queen Berlina asked Calpheon for military support. Delighted to meet you. I'm Remitaronsum, the Tooth Fairy Chief. I heard you are touring the woods of Kamasylvia and talking to the spirits. Let me cut to the chase then. The spirits will remain neutral. I hope that Calpheon keeps that in mind and makes the wise decision. Further north from here is a very dangerous place. The forest Rona Roses are refusing to cooperate with anyone else but their own. Chief Remitarosum and Lady Segakaku, please excuse me, but I have to go to Lucille Monet. I need to inform her of Lady Segakaku's visit in advance so that we won't have any unnecessary incidents. Lady Segakaku, as Chief Remitarosum said, from here the forest will become more dangerous. It'll be nothing like Polly's Forest. You can relax here a bit, but then you should come straight to the Archer Guard Post. Please, Chief Remitaronsum, take a good care of the delegate. Delegate, I hope you don't run into any forest Rosesi. Yes, Ophelia, you have my word. After all, this delegate is a distinguished guest of Kamasylvia. Delegate, be mindful of the archers. They tend not to be comfortable with outsiders. Even an official delegate like you might be in for a rude welcome. Whew, I grow more anxious every day. If the Forest Ronaro spirits leave this place, the North Forest of Kamasylvia will be left with no hope. They're the keepers who have been protecting the forest for a very long time. Sadly, it's been 8 years since they couldn't go back to the Loopy Forest due to unexpected conflicts they're having with the Fidusas.
I'm Remitaronsum, taking care of Tooth Fairy Woods.
Yes, unfortunately Fiducies are now divided into 2 groups. Those, like the one you've met, who are sound in mind, and those consumed by the grey fog. In fact, it all began with a pointless, tiresome argument when Amelia Ornette revealed the murderer of the 2 chiefs of Ganelles and Vidiers and became the new queen. A meaningless argument began over the crown made of Kamasylv branches. The Archer claimed, now that the new queen represents both Ganelles and Vidiers, the old crown should be decorated with Kamasylv flowers. On the other hand, the Ahib said the old crown should be used with no flowers. Perhaps they said so in consideration that the Ahib or Vidir might become a queen in the future. I still vividly remember the hopeless row between the Ganelles and Vidiers. In the end, the Archer won this pointless argument.
Tooth Fairy is the only fairy graced by the goddess Sylvia.
Afterwards, Amelia started to oppress the Vidir even more, and one day a group of Vidirs came to see me. They were the Vidirs who did not choose to become Ahibs. They made a solemn vow to me to protect Kamasylv. The obsidian ashes shall defend Mother's breath until the day of our death. They called themselves the Dark Night, and asked me to clear a path out of the forests of Kamasylvia for them. And what happened after that? It's too painful for me to talk about this. My apologies. I shouldn't have brought it up. Please forget about what I said. Get some rest here for a while. Then you can go to the Archer guard post. Be wary. You will be harmed if you wander around too much in the forest. Even if you're lucky enough to get approved by Nelindo, the leader of Ronaros, the enraged Ronaros will still indiscriminately attack any intruders.
The more the forest shakes, the more anxiety.
Okay, maybe not. Oh, centaurs.
The faintest kind. They are right now under obsession and delusion.
This is the Loopy Forest. We stand by our sacred vow. Now even a Calpheonian eagle is swooping in here for the rotten meat. Surely Remetaronsom didn't send you when she knows about the situation here. I'll let you go this time, assuming you are simply lost. Go back to where you came from before I change my mind. This forest does not approve of you.
Our land stands with Loopy Forest and
I do not wish to talk, especially to a delegate of Calpheon who does Brolina's biddings. Stop desecrating this forest, and leave at once. What are you standing glowering there for? We won't take responsibility if anything tragic happens to you here. Or perhaps you would like to take our test? I assure you, our test is fair. Simply break the will of Ronan, the keeper of the forest. You probably will not survive him, but who knows?
the faintest kind.
Well, let's hope we don't die. Oh yeah, by the way, I should mention that we upgraded the gloomy nether flower stuff. We also upgraded the whatchamacallit, cokes. Okay, let me show you. Where we do this, and okay, that's oh boy. Ow. Ow. Yeah, not that hard. I mean, you said I was probably not gonna survive. I don't know. Seems like Ronan was the one that Ronan had a hard time surviving. Could this be part of Ronan's prophecy? Very well. Take this accessory with you. The force of nature dwells within. It is a token proving that you have broken the will of Ronan.
Our land stands with Loopy Forest.
Our other one is actually better. Even though it says this one's better, our other one is better. The Faris. They are currently being led astray under the influence of the Ash Forest. So, breaker of Ronan's will, what do you want to know? Spirits do not lie. I will tell you all you want to know.
The faintest kind.
I want to know what happened after the Dark Knights left the forest. Oh my. I can see now why Remetaronsom couldn't stop you from coming here. Perhaps she's grieving by now. Did she tell you anything about this? I'm sure you couldn't hear the entire story, even if she did. Her great sorrow marks the beginning of the ordeal we Ronaros are going through. The Vidir, or so-called the Dark Knights, are the ones who made a vow to the Tooth Fairies that they will protect Kamasylv to the end. But as the Tooth Fairies cleared the path out of the forest for them, Amelia Ornette considered it an act of treason, that helped her enemies escape. The Mad Queen, blinded by the hatred against the Vidirs, presented the black flower to the tooth fairies. This was a death sentence. A lot of tooth fairies were executed, simply because they let the Vidir live. That's actually part of why we can live in this forest right now. This forest used to be where the tooth fairies would build their cabins to live. But now they're gone. Holly and the tooth fairies. I don't know who will be next.
The forest as of now is only of painful cries.
Because we gave the spirit's blessing to her on the day she was born. We cannot do any harm to the one we've blessed. All we could do was run away. But Kamasylvia was our land from the beginning. Where else could we go to? Besides, how could she kill the spirits? It wasn't supposed to happen in the first place. Amelia, the eldest daughter of the Ganel chief. We trusted her. She purged the spirits who blessed her birth while neglecting the importance of reviving Kamasylv. However, there still was hope for us. It's the prophecy of Tulid, our prophet. It's about the dance of the sun and moon that will melt the frozen sky. Breaker of Ronin's will. You may hear more about the prophecy from Tulid.
Our land stands with
that says that it's better, but if you'll notice, okay, you gain 1 AP and 2 accuracy, but you lose 2 defense points, and down there, under item effect, you can see it says that we lose extra AP against monsters. Oh, and we'd also lose 300 max HP. Because we have 3 Asula Crimson Eye accessories, we get extra max HP, and if we were to equip this one, then we'd lose that. Fairy, this is this definitely is not going to work. I don't know if you noticed. That's kind of a sheer cliff face. This is not Skyrim. Okay, maybe this is Skyrim. Let's move our cute underling up here. And hopefully nobody will attack her. And it appears that I was supposed to go into a cave somewhere.
Oh!
Oh my gosh, this is so hidden.
Only the ones with forest bows shall
Do not be certain about things, especially not the future. The prophecy says the one wearing the mask of the eagle will quietly look down the bruised hole of the Verdure forest. It must be referring to you. Yet, breaker of Ronin's will, I cannot speak of the prophecies of the sun and the moon so easily, even to you. Breaker of Ronin's will, do you want to play a game? All you need to do is solve a couple riddles. Every time you solve a riddle, I'll tell you about a song of 2 girls of the sun and moon that was sung during those times of terror.
living close with nature will guide you away from
What is like a tiger when approaching, a hawk when passing by, and a rock after it's gone? Time. Although every Ganel and Vidir was born with either the power of the sun or moon, and under the blessing of the spirits, the language of the ancient spirits is understood only by a chosen few of the goddess's daughters. Using the power of the ancient spirits who returned to the arms of Mother Nature a long time ago, these daughters defended Kamasylv and thereby became natural leaders of all the beings of Kamasylvia. The chosen ones were treated as princesses, and they grew up in the Grandeha, the port of Grana, receiving the education needed to become chiefs of the Ganels and Vidirs.
only the ones with forest bows.
Here goes the second question for the prophecy of the princess. What has 6 faces and 21 eyes? Dice. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 is 21. The pips are the eyes. The 2 chiefs, Oriana Ornette and Josia Odore fought against the dark spirits. Between them, they had 4 princesses. 3 of the princesses were born from the beacon of the sun, and 1 princess was born from the frost of the moon. The 4 princesses were born under the most peculiar skies. When the first princess with the power of the sun was born, a red moon glowed in night sky. When the third princess with the power of the sun was born, it was daytime, yet it was as dark as the day of the black sun. When you are close to it, illness goes afar. When you are far from it, illness comes near. I guess it kind of depends on what he means by illness. It's supposed to be nature. Yeah, see, that's the thing, is that was the obvious one, but that doesn't really make much sense, does it? Okay. By a great coincidence, the second princess with the power of the sun and the 1 princess with the power of the moon were born on the same day and time. On that day, the sun and the moon did not rise or fall, but remained on the horizon. The light from the 2 didn't disrupt each other, and seemed to be in harmony. Between the sun and the moon, shining stars embroidered the Milky Way, and it was the most peaceful sight that I had seen in a long time.
Living close with nature will guide you away from
The 2 girls were always together, just as the answer to the 4th question. When a door closes, the other opens. What is this? Light and darkness, of course. When the eldest princess with the power of the sun was crowned queen, after the chief of Genels and the Vidirs were poisoned, many Vidirs were suppressed, and countless spirits were purged. However, while the antagonism between Genels and Vidirs was worsening, the friendship of 2 princesses, 1 Genel and 1 Vidir, was flourishing as if they were living in a world of their own. This will be the last story. You need to have lived a long life to receive this. When you finally receive it, you become humble and gain the future. What is this? Wisdom. In the end, the friendship between the 2 princesses could not endure the tragic death of Princess Catherine. The 3rd princess of the sun was prophesied to die young, yet was the only one who was determined to restore Kamasylvia's light, while everyone else was engrossed with earthly conflicts. She met her death by the hands of Princess with the power of the moon, while she was searching for the songs of the ancient spirits. No friendship could survive such a betrayal, the death of a beloved younger sister by a trusted friend. I'm not the one who made these riddles. They're riddles created by the 2 girls in the song. The 2 girls from the song are now at the center of the civil war here. One of them is Queen Berlina of Kamasylvia, the Sea of the Woods. The other is Queen Viorencia of Odilita, the Arid Land, Queen of the Ahibs, who ran away from this land.
Do you know what has 6 faces with 21 eyes?
Viorencia Odore, once the closest friends of Berlina Ornette, put a knife to the heart of the young Catherine Ornette. That incident led Emilio Ornette to openly declare the Ahibs as traitors, and begin a full-fledged campaign against them. But fate is a cruel mistress. When Viorencia Odore ran off to the arid land, Berlina was taken hostage and disappeared with her. There she spent 4 years in a strange land, living with her mortal enemy who killed her beloved sister, her mortal enemy who was also once her best friend. This cave was the first place Berlina went to when she finally escaped Odilita, and where she steelily wrote the last entry of the exchange journal she kept with Viorencia as a child. There is a magic seal the 2 girls put on the journal a long time ago. If you can solve the riddle of the seal, I'll allow you to read the journal.
Living close with nature will guide you away from disease. On the other hand, living away from nature will encourage disease.
It's the exchange journal when they were young. Okay. Put everything down and look up the night sky for a moment. Your stars are smiling brightly in the darkest of nights. We are all lighthouses in the night sky. How many stars are there in your lighthouse? Um... How is it 4? How is it 4? This is not... Oh no. I thought this was the... So I figured out what it was. I just didn't know that this did not have the answer. I don't know how to actually check then. In the journal, the two girls were dreaming of an era of peace, even in Queen Amelia's reign of terror, when Kamasylvia, the sacred tree, was all aflame, and Ganel's invaders were at full-scale war. And after a long blank, the last chapter is filled with mature writing. I, Berlina Onett, born with the power of the sun, hereby swear by the Ronaros spirits of the forest keepers, I shall dethrone the offender who's forgotten the sacred oaths to protect Kamasylvia, Queen Amelia Onett. The black sun that once devoured all light shall go down, and from the darkened forest a new sun that will shed light upon the land once again shall rise. I solemnly swear I shall restore the light of Kamasylvia, and thereby annihilate the Ahibs. The dawn's return happened so smoothly, and with perfect timing at that. Calpheon was asking for military support to fight trolls and sarnils. Berlina Onett, who returned from arid lands, was not an innocent princess anymore. She used an old decree called Mother's Paradise, which stipulates that armed forces are not allowed in the capital city, to persuade a stickler for rules like Amelia to dispatch most of her elite guards and followers from Grana, and to send them to help Calpheon. Then Berlina seized the chance and ousted Amelia, with allies she had been long gathering. The court was replaced with supporters of Berlina, and, in no time, the entire nation transitioned to her rule. This turn of events, the fall of the Black Sun and the rise of the Golden Sun, is called by historians as the Dawn's Return. One of Berlina's supporters were the Phaduses, who are currently at odds with Forest Ronaroses. Look for a Phadus called Khalid in the Loopy Forest. He's a friendly one, and can tell you more about what happened.
What comes like a tiger, passes by like a falcon.
Hee hee. Wow, so much was going on, don't you think? This place is truly packed with all kinds of different stories. By the way, if Dawn's return of Berlina was a success, why aren't the Phadus leaving? You know, if they say there's someone friendly, that means most of the others are not so friendly. Let's go meet this guy.
Everything has gone wrong.
Do you know anything about the white ash from Ash Forest? The white ash is consuming the rationality of all species. They lose their mind, and now they are attacking me.
Do you know about the white ash flown here?
Why are we still occupying this forest? Our people had no intention to do so from the first place. We're supposed to retreat after they succeed in the uprising. But after the Black Star fell at the foot of Mount Kabua, they all lost their minds as the ash powder pushed in. If it wasn't for this Phadus ascetic's help, I would have been swallowed up by the madness as well. Do you know what's even more surprising? After I came back, I realized I had been lost for almost 8 years. Technically, I didn't exist for that long.
White ash is eating away my kind's rationality.
The last thing I remember was the return of Princess Berlina Onett, who had been taken hostage during the civil war with the Ahib. She declared she would drive out Amelia Onett, who was consumed by her lust for power and hatred, and neglected to restore Kamasylvia's light. The pent-up anger of my people exploded too. Countless friends of ours, tooth fairies, were executed just because they helped dark knights leave the forest, just because they're a faction of the Vidyr. I hope they're all happy in their mother's arms now. After the uprising succeeded, we were going back to our peaceful life, but the Black Star, the roar of the Black Star is tearing up our souls. The pain lasts forever. We can't even close our eyes. Please, Save my people from the eternal pain, I beg you. Okay, cool. So, he wants us to save his people by killing them all. And that is the power of the upgraded Bloomy Nether Flower. I can't remember if it's prime or absolute, but yeah.
Everything has gone wrong.
My poor people are walking towards even deeper pain. Do you mind? Oh my gosh. We done? Goodness. My poor people are walking towards even deeper pain. I heard the Renoros are leaving the forest because of us. The White Warrior is nothing but an illusion. How did it come to this?
The reason my kind is not leaving this place.
Can I ask you one more favor? The White Warrior that my brethren see. I think it must be some kind of hallucination. Could you go destroy their blue boxes, collect the seals, and deliver them to the Acher guard post? And please let them know that we're still suffering. What can possibly make this grave hog stay here the same, even though it's been more than 8 years?
Everything has gone wrong. It breaks my heart to see this world.
Halt! Boo! There was so much commotion going on down there. Are you by any chance coming from the Fadas region, Boo? The Fadas are out of their minds because of the white powder that flew over Ash Forest ever since the Black Star fell from the sky, Boo. You seem like the Calpheonian Ophelia Enel was talking about. But there's no exception here at the Acher guard post. You must deal with our issue together to enter this area, Boo. You see, the white ash is spreading farther and farther. We have to take care of the Fadas, too. But for now, please get an Ached hummingbird's tail feather and place it on the God Tower of Wind right here. Boo.
Okay. I think I do need to get a hunting rifle for this. Well, what do you know? I didn't need a hunting rifle after all. It's a good thing that there's no reaction, Pooh.
Sorry, but all that talk about tail feather of the hummingbird was a trick. I had to find out if the power you use as you hunt the hummingbird is not of the Ahib, Boo. This guard tower of wind fends off the ominous energy that the Ahibs from the arid land give off. I'm sure Ahib spies are already aware that you entered Kamasylvia. Who knows, maybe some Ahibs are out there somewhere disguised as you. Pooh, that's why I had to check. But you may still need to be extra careful. Atchers always suspect everything, Pooh. Very well, now you can meet Captain Lucille Monet, Pooh. We've been completely fooled. I should have known. Ached hummingbird, hee hee. Their security is really tight. Impressive. I'm sure the Archer woman, Captain Lucille Monet, must be nothing to sneeze at. The Tooth Fairy told you about this. You're going to not welcomed at all. If Ophelia Enel didn't inform them of your arrival in advance, she must have some nasty temper. Let's go meet her.
All we wish for is peace.
To protect the virtue of harmony and coexistence. That's the reason Acher guard post exists. Calpheon, were you the one Ophelia Enel spoke of? It's even more unpleasant if it's a person whom she brought. The Acher does not need any help from Calpheon. We hereby warn you clearly. Withdraw from Kamasylvia.
A foundation built for harmony and coexistence. That is what
If Calpheon had really intended to help Kamasylvia, the white ash problem in Ash Forest would have already been solved. 8 years have passed since the Black Star fell in the north, but the grey fog still remains in the forest even after those times. no idea what was going on. Okay? Nobody in Calpheon knew. You could have told somebody. Isn't it obvious who is behind all this? The Ahib. This must be their doing. Our Ash Forest sentinels found Ahib emissaries' footprints near where the Black Star fell. The area, unquestionably and historically, is part of Calpheonian territory. If you really want to help us, why don't you waltz in there and do something? After all, you're a delegate of Calpheon. If you murder this Ahib, who might be causing the grey fog there for all I know, or if you miraculously negotiate with those scoundrels to stop them, then perhaps we could give you some credit. That's all the diplomatic courtesy I can show you as an officer. Now, why don't you walk off hand in hand with that Ophelia Enel and get out of Kamasylvia?
All we wish for is peace.
You've met Lucille Monet, I see. It could have been worse if I didn't inform them of your visit in advance. But I hope you don't get too offended. It needed to be done by someone. Archers are just doing their job. How do you feel after looking around Kamasylvia? I'm asking you, Lady Segakaku, personally, not as a delegate. The Sea of the Woods, an elegant and beautiful paradise. Kamasylvia is known by these pretty names. But as you can see, there are bruises everywhere in our country, and Calpheon can never handle this battle. Queen Berlina is surely a good-hearted one. She's kind and calm. However, if we march on to Odilita, the land of the Ahib, without restoring Kamasyl's light, there will be nothing but destruction upon ourselves at the end. Calpheon doesn't have to walk through this path of failure. Why am I saying such things, you ask? I'm a pariah here. I used to announce I was an Enel with pride, but now I am forced to wear the name as a source of shame. Ophelia seems somewhat sad. Listen to the rest of her story. Originally, Enels were the elite guards of Queen Amelia. Yes, we were all loyal subjects of Queen Amelia. As soon as Princess Berlina managed to return from being held hostage for 4 years in Odilita, she started the rebellion of Dawn's Return, in the name of resurrecting Kamasylv. Eventually, the coup succeeded. Amelia, who had already sent most of her soldiers to Calpheon, clearly had no chance of winning. When I came back from Calpheon after finishing the mission, the owner of the throne was already changed. The spirits who had been hiding themselves from Amelia's black flower started to come out again, and soon the whole grano was in a festive mood, with joyful music after a long time. However, Amelia's Enels, who came back from the Calpheon expedition, couldn't possibly enjoy that moment. We all abandoned our name Enel, the symbolic of Amelia, and surrendered. But the new queen didn't give us a new name, but gave us back our old name, Enel. As of that moment, this name became our stigma. But that was not the end. She ordered us to pick up our swords in the midst of the festive music. Then the names of the countless archer captains who followed Amelia were called out, one after another. Before long, these captains were standing in front of our swords. The charge against the captains the new queen gave was short and simple. The crime of neglecting the mad queen, blinded by hatred for Vidias. After their charge was announced, she ordered us to execute them all, in front of everyone. At one time I wasn't afraid of anyone, but things have changed, and now I lost confidence of all sorts. It means everyone over there will consider me nothing more than a subject of condemnation. War is a long, but also a short moment. As soon as Calpheon gets into this war, the future of Calpheon will be exactly what I am now. The Queen expects everything to be flawless, without a speck of stain, but Calpheon will inevitably show their feet smeared with mud. So let me tell you clearly here, do not have false hope here, and return to where you belong. I hope the journey you've had in Kamasylvia so far to be a compelling sign for the mutual benefit of the two countries. Here, take this token of appreciation from Her Majesty. I hope I won't be seeing you again. Now, cross the Valtara Mountains and go to the village of Trent. A messenger told us that Callus Parliament is expecting you.
There's nothing better to watch than a family squabble, and she's expecting us to go back. Aw, I don't want to miss this. Are we really leaving? Apparently, we could hardly meet people who are staying here. There's this rumor going around on Calpheon Street, and everyone is laughing about it at the moment. It goes like this. The two liars of all liars are the Calpheon nobles and the daughters of Sylvia, but the greatest of them all is the queen. Anyways, we've still got to go to Trent, right? After all, you've been paid, so you need to do your duty as a delegate. There can be more drama waiting for us for all we know.
I'm pretty sure that it's not just going to end there. But, I guess we got to go back to Trent. But I think once we get there, that's going to have to be it for this episode. Oh, you're back. It must have been hard in the unfamiliar land. I'm sure you've met these people before. I've once fought trolls and sonals along with them, when Queen Berlina sent reinforcements for us, so I know them well. But I'm sure you know better than I do about the current state of Kamasylvia. Well, let's cut to the chase. We haven't got much time. The conclusion of the military pact between Calpheon and Kamasylvia depends on how you answer. Good. The intelligence of Trina was correct, even in such a remote environment. Then we should figure out what benefits we can get out of them. If we are to get involved in the civil war between the vicious sisters. Next question. Do you think it is right for Calpheon to sign a military treaty with Kamasylvia? Clearly, intervening in other countries' civil war takes a considerable amount of a country's wealth. But it would be still worthwhile if we could win the mining rights in Kamasylvia. Last question. If we go to war with Kamasylvia, do you think Calpheon could take over the land? The forest spirits have long been known to be only kind to the children of the goddess. If we intervene in the war in their land, the spirits might retaliate fiercely against us. You've helped us organize our thoughts. If you'll excuse us, we will have a private discussion. You've really done well. Why don't you have some beer here and take a break for a while?
What? 2 pints of beer? After all that trouble, that's what we get? The whole barrels of Borodonia winery wouldn't be sufficient to pay for what we did. Beer? Just 2 pints? What a cheapskate parliament. Oh, is that why they're so rich? Anyway, I think this small country town turned out to be quite a busy spot with the important people's visit from the capital. Hee. Let's relax a bit over there and listen to some stories.
Oh, I forgot about the whole eavesdropping thing.
What? Those guys over there. Did you hear that? I think they're talking about something pretty interesting. There's something going on. I'm curious. Why don't we offer them the beer we got and hear the details?
A fine pint of refreshing beer. Our conversation here must have tickled your curiosity. To you, our town may seem peacefully working away with our saws, eh? But you see, this town serves as a kind of meeting grounds these days. It was about 10 years ago, a bunch of lean and tall women came down from the mountains. I can still vividly remember the creature they brought with them. They called it a griffin, I think. An eagle's head on a lion's body. They caused no troubles to us, just quietly went to the Calpheon shrine. I mean, it's no ordinary shrine, is it? So I peeked in to check they weren't up to some strange rituals. I only heard a few words. Frailty, fraternity, and the women said something like, from the same root? They've been calling each other brother or sister, I don't know. And they talked about some trolls and sonals, and then all left after some time. I couldn't help but think they did some weird ritual that day. That's right, there was a total mess a few days after that. Suddenly, hordes of mad trolls and sonals appeared out of nowhere. Before long, those lean and tall women we saw came again, from south this time. They all brought large bows on their backs. And boy, they were amazing. They could shoot and hit pine cones 100 meters away.
Oh my! I can't believe I'm hearing this in a place like this. I always thought there must have been a reason why the meek sonals and trolls suddenly went crazy. She first caused the war upon Calpheon to make them ask for military support from their ally, Kamasylvia. Then, just in time, Berlina persuaded Amelia to send Anels, the queen's elite guard, to Calpheon, and finally seized the throne while Amelia was off guard. Hee hee. These all seem like missing pieces of a puzzle. Berlina was a true mastermind of everything that has happened. I always imagined her like a weak little lark, but she's been the slyest all along, just like a raven.
There's shadow in the light, huh?
Hee hee. If our guess is true, who knows how many unknown plans are behind the alliance between the two countries. Hee hee. But everyone will call you crazy in Calpheon if you say you heard that from some village folks without any proof. Plus, there's still the last piece of the puzzle we didn't find yet. Let's say Berlina definitely had a clear purpose. Why would Calpheon agree to do it while defiling their own land? And what was it? Light? Dawn? Fraternity? Sisters? I wonder. Let's look for some proof. Who knows? We might even get some decisive evidence. Hee hee. Let's go back to the tavern again. Those old people might be waiting for us.
So, did you get enough rest? I have written a confidential letter from Calais Parliament for the Queen. We have a mission to give you. Calpheon's most trustworthy hero. We can't fly sky balloons here, so you will go there through Kamasylvia vicinity this time. You will be passing some staggering views, but you shouldn't be distracted by such things. You need to make sure if the path is safe for our soldiers to pass, and see if there are any areas on the way where enemies could lie in ambush. Act on your best behavior so that archers do not grow suspicious about you, and please them by satisfying their needs to earn their full trust. That way, you will have no trouble investigating all the areas later on. After all, that's what you are best at. Do you follow what I'm saying? By the way, the merchant guild of my Acrotia family will soon start trading with Kamasylvia as well. We will be using the path you secure in this mission, but rumor has it there are a bunch of gargoyles on a rampage around there. I want you to go there and teach them a lesson or two, so that my merchant guild's carriage can come and go safely. So, we're going to be fighting some gargoyles, but that's going to have to wait for the next episode. For now, I would like to remind you that if you are watching this on the main channel within 2 hours of when it goes live, that means that I am streaming the recording of the next episode on the streaming channel right now, and a link to that will be down in the description below. But other than that, thank you for watching, and I will hope to see you later. Bye.